All right, welcome to my FX Buddies, the podcast. And I say podcast because there are other mediums to hear this content. However, the best place to go is the blog. And the blog is at myfxbuddies.blogspot.com. And I know that's a lot to type in. So, wherever you're enjoying this content, look for a more info, description, open, intro, some button like that. If you click on that, another box opens and it'll have a link directly to the blog. And on the blog will be the video with the articles that I'm going to go over, but the articles are there in full with a link. If you want to click the link, it takes you to the original article. You probably hear some background noise. Sorry, that is what it is. I can't do anything about that. All right. Yeah, and it's free. You don't have to put in your email, nothing. You just click the link and there's my FX Buddies, the blog. All right, so it is Sunday. I'm going to keep this to 30 minutes for sure. So you notice the title article is not about budget, right? But they did pass. They did vote. But it's still confusing. There's confusion hovering over, and we'll get into that later. But I wanted to focus this. Plus, it has a picture and it makes for a thumbnail, okay? But, so we'll get right into this. Iraqi traders, our losses are huge. What does the Toman have to do with it? What is the Toman? Do any of you have any notes that look like this? Yeah, that looks like the Iranian rial, right? Well, yes, it's one note with two different names and two different looking rates, right? Notice I said different looking. One has less zeros than the other. So in country, Iran calls their money the Toman. See that? And it has less zeros. I don't know. You could look it up and you could figure that out for yourself. All right. But listen to this. The Iranian Toman currency witnessed a new deterioration after it collapsed under the weight of American sanctions and political and economic crisis in Tehran, which burdens traders and those dealing with it, turning profits into concerns and warnings into a bitter reality. So if you don't know, and why would you? Right. If I wasn't in this, I wouldn't be reading about the Iranian currency. It was already at all-time lows. Then, with this last, oh wait, okay. So I did some reading over the weekend. I think that guy, the helicopter crash, yeah, someone made that crash happen. There is a plan to weaken Iran and possibly go into Iran. It's, well, I mean, I'm sure you saw General Wesley Clark, that little almost 2-minute video where he said we're going to take over 7 countries in 5 years or something like that. And the last one was Iran, right? But I was reading some other stuff and I don't know. It's pretty, uh, there's some arrows, actually, there are some arrows pointing in that direction. But no, you can't prove it though, right? I mean, I bet Iran feels they can prove it, but what are you gonna do? Were you gonna take them to the international court, right? We think you guys did this, right? No, it doesn't work that way. But anyway, so ever since I would say they took out So remember the guy that there was the helicopter crash. Then they took out the guy who hit the drone with the stick. Habania, I can't remember his name. Then there was another guy, okay, short beard, wrapped his head. Ever since they took that guy out, the Toman or the Real has just been going down, down, down. It's at 840,000. Let me see, what is it today? Today is February 2nd. 839,000 reals to a dollar for the bid, and 842,000 reals per dollar for the ask. So they're almost at 1,000,000 reals per dollar. Okay, so you probably don't remember a few years ago, Iran had to come over to Kurdistan and tell the Kurdish leaders, hey, tell your people to stop buying our currency. They were speculating, right, that the value of the real was going to rise. But not only that, every year around March is it's Islamic New Year or whatever. It's some kind of new year that Iran celebrates that Iraq does not. So, and for about 5 years in a row, they kept saying, hey, we're going to have a new rate. We're going to have new notes. But in the last 2 years, they haven't done that. So, but so I have this article here for a purpose. So they're complaining, we keep taking in these tomans, the continuous decline in the value of the currency, Iranian currency, it has greatly harmed traders and speculators in this currency. Some people's losses have exceeded $40,000 in a matter of weeks. So, and this is mostly in Kurdistan. See, the exchange market in Sulaymaniyah is one of the largest outlets for buying and selling Iranian Tomans in Iraq. So see, they're not dumb. They know. I bet you they bought up a bunch of Turkish lira too, because the Turkish lira was at all-time lows, but they believe, and they're probably correct, it too will go back up, even though it's not in the first basket. At least I don't think it is. Once the oil starts flowing and they've agreed on all the things they've agreed on, their currency is probably going to strengthen as well. So, yeah. Okay, so that's one article about a different currency, and this is in Iraq's news for their citizens to read. So here's the kind of like the arbitrage deal right here. So the head of the Kurdistan Economic Development Organization, there's his name, said, dealing with the Toman and exchange market in Sulaymaniyah is done in two ways. The first is direct cash buying and selling, noting that the second way is on credit, or what is called air. And isn't that a good, that's a good explanation of credit, right? Which is that the buyer does not pay the value in cash at that moment, but rather an agreement is made verbally with the seller on a specific price in the hope that its price will rise the next day. But it hasn't been rising, it's just been going down every day. Usually, it just decreases every day. Okay, so you could read that. All right. Now I know what you probably already know, because I'm sure many of you listen to other places. Okay, they passed. Well, let me tell you, the whole thing started off weird to begin with, because the House Speaker, the one who's the head over Parliament, he did not show today. So either this vote is not important to him, or he knew it wasn't, he felt it wasn't going to happen, right? These are just my thinkings. Or his visit to Iran is very, very, very important, right? So that was one thing I didn't like. That they left it to be run by the first deputy House Speaker. But that's okay. He's experienced. He knows what he's doing, right? Because, anyway. So, the next thing is they postponed it. They postponed the start half an hour because they didn't have quorum. They get quorum. Everyone comes in because remember, if they don't show up, what? They get docked $1 million. And their name goes in the paper and on TV that they didn't show up. So they show up. They have enough for quorum. They do their little opening things. Then it's time to read the amendment to the budget. 50 or so get up and leave. So there's no more quorum. But guess what? They continued on with the vote anyway. And there may be a clause in the Constitution that says they can do that. I know they did make a change for some procedural change, but I don't know what it is because I don't really want to know that, right? I want this to be over and I don't want to have to know things like that. Okay, so the 50 or so that left heard that they voted on the budget amendment anyway, and they're like, you can't do that. We broke quorum, right? So we're going to take it to the federal court, right? So, yep, that happened. So there's that cloud over, is it done? Or are they going to take it to the court? Right? So, and we should know tomorrow. We should know tomorrow. And hopefully, well, yeah, I'm saying I'm hoping the Supreme Council will say you don't have a case. It was done constitutionally, but then they can appeal. I think they're allowed one appeal. So, but, okay, this article, this is Sudani right here. This is Sudani, and this is the son Barzani. He is powerful in Kurdistan. Look how happy they are, even though I don't think this picture is from today. But anyway, they both welcome the passage of the budget law amendment and call it a responsible step. So, if Sudani is believing it's done, and I know he knows their constitution, and he knows what happened, he knows about them leaving, not having quorum, he seems to be acting like it's a done deal. So, he thanks them for their understanding and support of the government's vision, which is continue to implement its program according to the priorities previously approved by the people's representatives, which meet the aspirations of the Iraqi people. So you think he would override everything, right? But he doesn't. Or that would be a dictatorship, right? So, yeah, okay. So they did vote. Technically, what should happen next? The president, the guy with the 4 names, Rashid Abdul Latif, one more name, he has 15 days to vote. Now, the Kurds are very happy, and I'm going to tell you why the Kurds are happy. And the president, per the Constitution, the president of Iraq has to always be a Kurd. So there's fair representation, right? So why would he hold it up? Right? He has 15 days to hold it up to him and Ha and then sign it. If the 15 days pass, even without him signing it, the law goes into effect. It then should, and I'm saying should, go into the Gazette because we're still waiting for Gazette number 4782 to be shown, right? They're up to like 4812 now of Gazettes, and they still haven't made public 4782. All right, so that's where we are. That's what has happened. So you can read this article here. I put that one first because I think it's the best one. All right, there's lots of articles here though. Kurds count on budget amendment session It will resolve problems between Baghdad and Erbil. Now, here, Iraqi Parliament approves. And look, it says First Amendment. Are there more amendments that have to be approved? I don't know. But usually if something's first, there's others, right? Okay, let's see. Now here, the agreement to pass the amendment to the budget law came in order to push the government to expedite sending the 2025 budget schedules, as no one wants to disrupt this budget, to prevent obstructing the construction and reconstruction process and launching many strategic and important projects during this year. So see, the budget schedules need their own separate vote. You don't believe me? Just watch. Here's another little short article. Now here's this is the reason the Kurds are so happy. Parliamentary Finance Committee explodes a surprise regarding the cost of extracting oil from the Kurdistan region. And what is it? They agreed on $16 per barrel, and the cost is not fixed, as there will be a consulting company that will determine the actual cost of the extracting oil, and it may reach $22 per barrel. Now, if I was a betting person, I would bet you it is going to reach $22, right? But because remember, they have to make this committee that is going to determine, they're going to determine the actual cost. They're going to check the paperwork. They're making this committee. Remember, they had 60 days. They were going to take 60 days to make this intermediate committee that would be fair and trusted, right, by both Baghdad and the Kurds. All right. So they are going to need, someone has to pay that committee, right? So, yeah. And then it will be retroactive also. All right. Okay. So here, this puts the doubt about the schedules needing their own vote right here from Iraqi News, not me, Iraqi News. Parliament source revealed on Sunday that the 2025 budget schedules were not approved in today's session. Let me show you what they approved. Let me show you something. This is a 2-page document. It's in Arabic. Who cares what it says, right? This is what they approved. This is not the HCL law. This is not Article 14. This is not anything except this amendment to, I think, Article 12C, whatever. It's 2 pages, 2 paragraphs, 2 pages. That's all they voted on today. So I know there's other people out there saying HCL and all this other stuff. No, this is it. And the good thing is, well, usually when they put the text of what they voted on in the paper, like this for people, for the citizens to read, it usually means it's a done deal. So we have all the signs of this being a done deal. All right. Go back over here. So yeah. So it doesn't mean that they've voted the 2025 schedules, but do they need to? I don't know. It seems like they do though. Right? So this amendment has nothing to do with the budget law schedules for the year 2025, which Sudani is keeping away from Parliament until he's ready for them to see them, because they were the ones who messed up the 2024. All right, so there's that. Here's my one commercial. buy me a coffee. You can click here. It's a link that'll take you to the site. Or for those of you who like, what are these things? QR codes? That's there. And thank you to those who have, and thank you to those who will. All right, now look. Here's another article about currency. This is Mosul. Mosul money changers talk about $1 million losses due to the city's share of the dollar. So they have not been approved to process dollars. So they're complaining that they have missed out on $14 million per week as a result of being deprived of banking transactions and its share of the dollar compared to the southern governance. So I'm not sure why Mosul's getting dissed. What's a better word? Blocked. It seems they're being blocked from the new procedure. Maybe their banks aren't up to the CBI qualifications. I'm not sure. But for whatever reason, they're complaining. So maybe someone will come out to them and tell them what they need to do. But they're definitely voicing these companies face restrictions, see, that prevent them from making external transfers or participating in the central bank auction, which they don't have anymore, which negatively affects the local economy and increases the suffering of citizens as a result of the rise in commodity prices and the decline in economic activity. So they're talking about in Mosul, right? I mean, it's happening in other governance as well, but they are like, what about us? We want to eat too, right? Okay, so now look at this. Here's another article about, well, this is about the dollar, but, and then also I don't believe in coincidences. Do you know there's several languages that don't have a word for coincidence? Languages that are older than English. Anyway, Prime Minister stresses Iraq's aspiration for more integration in economic and trade relations with the Sultanate of Oman. And there they are. I always think this is how the wise men were dressed. But anyway, so you could read that if you like. They want to get some deals going. And Oman has been a part of they've been mediators for the ceasefires. So they're probably like, we've been putting in work, we want to get paid now. Okay, so the Omani dollar in Iraq, but Oman, I think, uses a dinar. So just listen. Suspicious currency or losses due to long storage. Owners of exchange offices and traders are suffering from a state of anxiety and confusion due to the circulation of the 100 US dollar denomination, which is called the old, printed in 2003 and known in the local market as Omani. Now, I've read this a few times. I don't know why it's called Omani. And then the fact that all of a sudden they've saturated the market when the Omani people are there, I don't know. But so it's not, I think these notes are not even the big face ones. So you know how the 100 notes that we have right now, they're a mix between the old greenback and it's blue, right? And before that, they made them with the big face guy. The guy's face was real big. I should know who's on the 100 note, but somebody send me one and then I'll tell you who's on. I don't know. I don't know who's on it. But I could see the picture. It's not Benjamin Franklin. George Washington? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, so it seems to be the ones right before the big face one. So you could read this. I mean, there's nothing about a raid or anything, but it just talks about, in reference to the Jordanian capital Amman. So that's Amman, Amman, not Omani, where it was widely circulated during the previous regime. And I don't know what regime they're talking about. If it's Kazemi or the guy that we took out, Saddam Hussein. So it's probably Saddam Hussein, right? So there's a price difference. So what they do, they charge them a lower price. They say, okay, you want us to take this old money? You're not going to get as many dollars for it. And apparently it seems to be okay with who's ever trying to get rid of them. So they're worried, are they fake? Which I'm sure they have a way to determine, just like, we can look up and see the special markings that should be there. So, but they have this method. They put a stamp on the banknote that would protect the money changer from some weak-willed people who try to deceive the office owners by forging the banknotes that were purchased from them, adding at the same time that putting a stamp on foreign banknotes might cause a problem for their buyers in terms of difficulty in exchanging them abroad. Kind of like, I guess we're not supposed to deface our dollars, but people do. People write on them. People put, have you seen that? It's on the dollar bills. And yeah, so George Washington's on the dollar bill because it says, go to, where has George been, or something like that. And you put in the serial number and it tells you all the places that dollar's been. If people have, participated by putting it in. But anyway, yeah, we're not supposed to write out our money or whatever, deface it. So I'm wondering if that's what they mean. What time is it? Oh my gosh, it's almost 30 minutes. Okay. But I just think it's really interesting. So here there's an unclear security signs, which it is an older note, so it would not have that many. There's nothing on the CBI saying you can't take it, right? So they did their due diligence, and they're talking about that. All currencies are accepted. The mood of the people, merchants, and owners of exchange offices cannot force them, no matter what happens, to accept these types of old dollars, stressing that this matter is a personal effort. So the CBI doesn't say they can't take them, or it doesn't say that they have to take them either. So if people call the CBI to complain, they'll say, oh yeah, that's their person, they have a right not to take that or not. So, and another thing I was thinking, if these are notes that people have been holding for a long time, that means they're wearing down the people. The people are running out of the money they've been hoarding in their homes. So I'd like to think maybe that's what this means too, but I don't know. But so you have the article about the Toman, you had the article about Mosul complaining they can't get their share of dollars, and then you have this article. And then yesterday, remember, they had the article out again about the special markings on the 30 notes. So, and these are articles. Who knows what they're telling them on TV, right? They could be saying other things on the television, and I just don't get access to it. All right, so here's just an article. Mashadani leaves for Tehran on an official visit. And then here they're starting to distribute salaries in Kurdistan and in Iraq. Baghdad. I think this one is for Baghdad. So these are retiree salaries for the month of February, which means they're probably at the same old rate, right? Okay, we already went over that. I think that's the last. Yeah, so that's it. So right on time. So as usual, they just can't do anything plain outright without question. So we'll see this week if it's done, if it's going to be moved on to the president for him to sign, or if there'll be a court case. Either way, I don't think it will be held up long because Sudani's like really, I don't want to say he's pressuring people, but he is. So yeah, all right. I hope you had a great weekend, or at least a good weekend. I had a good weekend. Looking forward to next weekend. There's gonna be a party here, and then the Super Bowl. All right. Actually, um, there was nothing. Well, there was this meeting. I was gonna say there was nothing from Aliyah Locke. I would have liked to have heard something from Aliyah Locke, but there was a convention of some sort, a digital something or another, and supposedly he was there, but they didn't show it on TV. Oh, the international exhibition thingy. That was much of what they showed on TV. Sudani gave a speech, even though it was yesterday. Well, it's because it's in the night, right? Because they do things at night. So yesterday, today ish. That's what they were running mostly on the TV was that speech. And the people that are usually on the streets with microphones, they were inside going around to the exhibitions. It looks pretty busy. It looks like it's a good turnout this year. Oh, there is a just something to keep in the back of your mind. There was a drone attack on one of the oil fields, and Sudani has already started an investigation into that. Um, so, oh, and the workers, the teachers that are on a hunger strike, I think they're still on their hunger strike. Even if they get paid, they said we're going to keep on until we get our demands. Their demands are they want to get paid, get back pay. They want other banks to choose from for their My Account program than just the Kurdish banks. And then they still want to have the option to get a check. They want the option to not have to participate in the My Account program. And I'm like, good luck with that. You're not going to get that one. I can tell you that right now. But so yeah, so they are still on strike as of today. All right. Thank you for listening. Let's make it a good week. No matter what, right? Live your life. Accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals and pay all your bills. If there's a like, follow, join, subscribe button wherever you are enjoying this content, take whatever action is needed to activate that because I don't post regularly. And if all things work like they're supposed to, if you activate that button, you should be notified when I upload. Thanks again for watching and your comments. And until next time.